Hey y'all, welcome to the Honesty Circle, the safe space to discuss growing in adulthood, mental health, faith, and all the things in between. It's your host, Sierra Elise, and I hope you're taking care of not only your mental and spiritual, but your emotional and physical health so you can be your best self this week. Hey y'all, welcome back to the episode of the Honesty Circle. It's me, your host, Sierra Elise. How are y'all doing? Well, this episode I'll be sharing how I am doing. As you see, my lovely co-host is right next to me. And if he bumps the mic, I'm so sorry. But anyways, before we get started today, I would like to, wherever you're listening to this episode, please make sure you follow us, but also and follow us on Instagram because we are trying to continue to grow the Honesty Circle. So before we get into the episode, I'll make sure we mention that in the forefront. This week, we're going to be talking about allowing your friends to show up for you. And I'm going to give why I'm talking about this and give more detail as to where I'm coming from, what I'm going through, all the things, okay? So, I am going through a breakup right now. And it's really weird to say. It's really hard to say. But I know the Honesty Circle is somewhere where I want to be authentic to myself. I want to share the real, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that. Like that's what I started the Honesty Circle for, is for me to share what my story is, my growth story, and like what I've learned along the way. And so I think that I would not be like myself if I were to go another episode not talking about it or not saying like what's actually going on and showing you guys how I'm growing through growing through this time right now. So and I don't need to go into the details as to like what happened. Obviously, it was actually pretty mutual, amicable, like very very fine. But I mean, it hurts nonetheless. It's a grieving process. You are sad some days, you're happy some days, you're angry some days. Like, grief is not linear. And so I've been kind of going through all of that. And in the midst of all of this, I've learned so much in this short amount of time. I've learned so much about myself in this short period of time. And the main thing I want to talk about is like allowing your friends to show up for you. I think that's something that I'm not used to doing. I think in this, going through this breakup and my friends showing up for me, first of all, I want to take a second to shout out my friends. They have been so, like, I couldn't have had better people in my circle, better people in my life to help me through this time, to cheer me up, to hang out with me, to check in on me, to literally any and everything. Like, my people are truly unmatched. And but I think it took me being open and vulnerable for that to happen. I got some advice from someone that I was telling what happened, and she told me that I need to make sure that I don't hold my feelings in, that I find someone that I can what she's like, whether it's her, my mother, my friend, a close friend, my sisters, like whoever it is, like being able to fully share authentically your feelings, unfiltered, or whatever, just so you can get them out. And she like, doesn't mean that you don't pray to God to kind of get those things out, but she like, sometimes you do need to talk to an actual person to get these feelings out. So I've been very intentional on that. When she told me that, I think it shocked me a little bit because I realized how much in my life I haven't done that. Like, there's been times in life where I've been going through hard times and none of my friends ever knew, because I'm very good at, which is not the best, but I'm very good at like hiding it. I'm very good at like, just keep smiling, just pushing through it, like going to God about it. And the thing is, like, for me, I don't think that I deal with it in an unhealthy way though. I think typically, like, in the past when I've gone through something, like even since graduating, like I go through something, I more tell people after the fact where it's like, oh girl, I was going through it this time, but like this is kind of what I did to like go through it, and this is how I kind of where I am now. And so I feel like I'm oftentimes telling people after the fact, and so it never allows my friends to ever show up for me. Never, because why would they? If I'm not fully being open and honest about my feelings about certain things, why how would they know how I'm feeling, and how would they be able to be there for me or support me or distract me or whatever I'm needing in that time? Like how would they be able to show up for me in those ways? So I think that this is completely different because I'm also the friend that typically people come to me for advice. Like people, I'm not like the know-it-all at whatsoever, but I feel like I typically ask questions and get people to think. Even if I don't give specific advice, I'm just typically just a sounding board. Like people just will share how they're feeling and all that stuff with me. And so it having to be the reverse, like it has been, boy, it's been a struggle. I'm not gonna lie to you. But one thing that I do know is that it's allowed my friends to show up for me. And I think it's also kind of showing me too, and how moving forward, we have to, as people, give our friends and give people in our life the space to show up. Like, I think sometimes we assume that like people have their own life going on, people have all their other problems, like, whatever. Like, I have one of my friends, she's in law school. She is going through her like finals and this all that right now. She is one of the main people that is constantly checking up on me and being there for me and all of that. Like FaceTiming me, all of that, even not being here. And I know that she's going through her own level of stress, but because I have that, like we have that vulnerability with each other, I'm able to express myself and be authentic to how I'm feeling. And she's able to then show up for me in ways that maybe I didn't even know that I needed, but it's because I'm sharing myself. And I think sometimes we just assume that like people have their own things going on, so why would I put my burdens on them? And I think I've had to reframe that. I've had to reframe that talking about something that's heavy or talking about what I'm going through, that's not a burden for somebody. And I've had to truly do a lot in this short time of like debunking that, because if I continued to navigate in a space that what I'm going through is a burden for someone else, I would have kept my mouth shut. I wouldn't have told anybody. I would have carried this weight on my own. I would have drowned it probably. Like, because I think sometimes we think, I know you're not putting the burden on somebody. I think sometimes when you're sharing it with your friends though, or people that you're close with and God, all of that, you are not just putting the burden on them. I think it's also just lifting the burden off yourself, right? Like me sharing how I'm feeling, that person doesn't always have to pick up that burden like, oh, I'm actually gonna carry it for you. Because that's not how it works. But when you're able to share it, be open about it, and take it off yourself, it can just sit there and exist in the space where neither one of you guys have to really carry it. You guys can watch it. Not, I don't know how that makes sense, but like in my head, I'm imagining like imagine you have like a book bag and like you have a whole bunch of bricks in the book bag, and like you're able to not pass the bricks off to your friend, but I'm just gonna put the bricks in this, like kind of start stacking a tower of all the bricks. Like that's kind of what I have in my head when I think of like taking off the burden, that you don't have to carry this stuff by yourself, by just getting it out, like it just getting it out. And so I had, like I said, I had to do a lot of realizing that like me sharing my feelings does not make me a burden. Me talking about the fact that I'm going through a breakup is not me being a burden. Like it's not being, and I kept finding myself like apologizing, like, oh, I'm so sorry to talk about this again. And my friends were like, girl, why are you apologizing? Like, stop apologizing and allow us to just listen to you and be there for you, and like allow us to be, right? Allow us to be the good friends that we are. Like I had one of my friends, she literally called off work because I wanted to do something. And she was one of the first people I thought of, and she called off work. And she's like, no. And I was like, no, please don't call off work. Like, I feel like I'm, inconveniencing you. And she's like, no, you said that you need me, and I'm showing up for you. And so I think, even just asking someone to like hang out with you, like, I think that's been like something that's so small for me, but that has been And like, I think it's assumed like, oh, people have plans. Like, I didn't have plans on Saturday, and I was like didn't want to be in the house. And I was just like, oh, people already probably have plans. Like, I don't want to ask anybody. So like, I really kind of waited a long time. Like, I didn't ask anybody to hang out. I didn't ask anybody to do anything. Like, I was just going to be like, I'll figure it out. I'll do something by myself, or I'll just sit in the house, which I didn't want to do. And so I texted my friends. I'm like, yo, what are y'all doing? And they're like, oh, I get off work at this time. Oh, I'm not doing anything. Boom. We make plans, hang out, and it's great. But like, and they said the same thing of like, we knew that like when you texted us, like you wanted to hang out, like we knew that we needed to hang out with you because we know that we need to be there for you and show up for you. And if we're able to show up for you, then we're going to. And so I think it's just like that small, and it's so small. It's such a small thing, but I think it's been like monumental in my life right now because I haven't done it. I haven't oftentimes given my friends the space to show up for me as a friend. One of the like first days after, like I got broken up, went through breakup the first day. The next day, didn't go to work, and one of my friends who was in Charlotte, Jazz, she was on the episode last week. She literally just came over to my house, brought food. We sat there and painted. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And I was resistant to that. I was so resistant. I was like, nope, I don't want anyone to come over. I want to be myself. I was going to cry by myself. I was going to sit by myself, and nope. And my friend was like, nope, you're not allowed to say no. I'm coming. My other friend who lives in DC, when she's like, no, she's coming. Like, I told her that you can't say no, like, to come anyway. And so I think from that day and then to where I am now, I was so resistant to like even asking someone to spend time with me or hang out with me because I need a friend right now. And now I'm just like, no, like I need a friend right now. So I'm going to ask my friends to be a friend right now. Like, right? Like, and I know it sounds so stupid. I know it sounds like, girl, like you weren't doing that before. No, I wasn't. And I don't know why I wasn't, but, yeah, like I feel like I always often operated in the fact that like if I didn't have plans or we didn't previously plan things, and this is the planner in me probably, where it's like if it's Saturday and we didn't make plans, then like you probably have plans, and so I'm not going to ask you. And that's how oftentimes like I said, that's how I operated. But now I'm realizing like you have to just give your friends the space, and that means either asking a question, and even if that means literally saying exactly what you need, right? With one of my friends, like I will preface, I'm like, hey, I don't want advice right now, but I'm just going to rant to you about something. Just listen. Right. And so that's me telling her what I'm needing from her up front. And then her being able to be that, okay, I'm just listening space. Right. I think a big part of this too is also like knowing what you need. And then I know that everyone doesn't have people in their life where it's like they already know what you need before you even know it. Like, but sometimes it also requires you to say what you need and what you feel, because oftentimes deep down, like I think sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know what I need. Like people are like, oh, what can I do for you? Like, do you need anything? And I'm like, nope, I don't need anything. Nope, I'm good. But like be honest about that. Like if you do need something, why don't you say it? And I think like I'm realizing that often, and I think I know it's not just me, but other people too, where it's like, oh, I don't need anything. I'm good. I can do it. I can figure it out. But it's like, you don't have to figure out everything by yourself, because you have people who are wanting to support you. You have people who are wanting to show up for you. You have people who are willing to do the things that you might need help with, but you're just going to decide to like, oh, I'm going to do it by myself. So I'm not going to ask for help. I'm not going to rely on anyone. Like I got it. And it's just crazy because like, I'm just realizing how much of my life that I've just like basically lied. Like, nope, I don't need anything. Nope, I'm good. Like, but actually, no, I'm not good. Like, I'm not good, and I'm trying to get good, but it's going to take some time, and it's going to take support. It's going to take all of these things. Therapy. I'm also in therapy. Shout out to my therapist because she has been the GOAT. See her every week. Love her. But yeah, like allow yourself to say what you feel like you need. And there are times, like, don't get me wrong, there are times where you really don't know. You really might not know. Like there's been times someone else asked me a week ago, and I was like, I actually, like right now, where I am, my mindset, like my headspace, the emotions I'm going through right now, I couldn't tell you what I need. Couldn't tell you, like, at all. Um, but I do think in the times where you don't think you know what you need, real friends might not give you exactly what you need, but they're going to make an attempt to then still do something. And I think sometimes the attempt of doing something will show, like, okay, that's what I need, or they give you exactly what you need and you're like, oh, wow, that was actually kind of perfect. Um and so yeah, I just challenge you guys, like, really, when you think about this, like, think when you think about your life and you think about, and I'm not saying that you have to tell everybody your business. Like, I'm over here sharing my business on a mic, and I'm just like, honestly, my insides are like icking out because I'm talking about this, but I decided that I'm going to be true to myself, and I'm going to, be open and vulnerable. And while it might be very difficult because the whole world, not the whole world, but it's open to the world to see, but I mean, we're human. And so if I want to talk about the good things where I feel like God's doing so great in my life, like I'm doing this, I got that, like all the blessings and like all of that. If I'm going to talk about that, I need to talk about the lows too. I need to talk about the time where we'll talk about this maybe later, but where I'm like mad at God, or like the times where it's like, I don't even like want to pray. I don't want to do nothing because I'm so low. Like, I don't want to, no, like I don't want to. Um, but yeah, like my point in all of this is that when you are truly open and honest with how you're feeling, and be selective, right? Like, I know what friends I can be open and honest with. Period. Point blank. I know what friends are just purely for vibes. I know what friends are for the deep conversations. I know what friends are, gonna do what. And so you like rely on your friends, rely on them. And not in a way that it's unhealthy where it's like, I can't even do anything about my friends, but in a way where it's like, I don't have to do this life alone. And I am going to choose to use my community, use the support of my community to navigate all of this, um to help me through, right? Like, and so I just challenge you guys genuinely, like, look at your friends. Um, and this also is a call out to people that you feel that you are not, like, they don't show up for you, even when you're telling them exactly what you need. If they're not showing up for you, deuces, deuces. Or maybe if it's not deuces, okay, that's a little stretch. I know it can be a stretch, but even if it's not like deuces, maybe it's like you're just know that y'all are not going to be that level of closeness or that level of intimacy, like that level of like openness and vulnerability and intimacy with that person, right? Um, because if you can't, if you're telling them exactly what you need and they are not showing up, and maybe they don't have the capacity right now, but I feel like if you don't have the capacity, then you will likely like share like, hey, I don't know if I can do that for you, but maybe I can do that, XYZ, or whatever. But there's also a way to examine your friends. Like, if this hasn't showed me my close friends, boy oh boy, it is showing it. It is showing it. But also it's showing in a good way for me. I will not gonna lie. I'm grateful to God that I have the people that I have in my life right now, in this season in my life right now, because boy, if this would happen, what year was that? 6 years ago, sophomore year, baby. Honestly, any of those years, I had the same. Some of my friends, but some of them no. But that's doesn't matter. Point is, I'm thankful for where I am right now in my life, and I'm thankful for the people that I have. And so if anything, although I feel super emotional, like I've been holding back low key tears this entire episode, but if this hasn't shown me one thing, it's shown me that I have great people in my life, and I'm so thankful that even in the lowest part of my life, that I still have friends who are going to be in that lowest part with me. It's not just friends that are going to celebrate at the mountaintops when, my podcast reached 200 subscribers, or it's not just the ones who are like celebrating a new job and, not all like the shiny and things like that, but it's the ones who are down in the trenches with me, helping me, pulling me, uplifting me, and all of that. And so, but allow your friends to be that way. Like when I tell you it's been so difficult, I know I said this already, but listen, when I tell y'all it's been difficult, it's not easy. What I'm saying, and being open and vulnerable with your friends to the capacity in which they are able to show up for you, that is not easy, right? We typically don't share with people when we are at a low. We don't share with people when we are struggling. We don't share with people when we need help. But this is my call to you to do it. Do it. Because when I tell you, it will make the difference. When I tell you that it will remind you, do it. That's all I have to say. Do it. It's not easy at all, but it will be rewarding and things are going to come from it, period. Things will come from it. So, yeah. C's 2 cents is to love on your friends and not just say that you miss your friends or you love your friends. I want you to check in on your friends genuinely. And when it's when they check on you, if you're hearing this and someone checks on you, be honest where you are in life right now, how you're feeling, and vice versa. When they then ask you back, whatever, make sure and also push them to be open and honest too. Like, hey, like, how are you? Like, oh, I'm good. No, I want details, right? Like, tell me how you're good. Tell me why you're good. And if you can't tell me why you're good, then tell me how you actually are. So just I want you to take it a step further of like not just asking how someone's doing, but make sure that they like help them be true in what they're saying and in their response to what your question is. Okay. So check on your friends, reach out to them, and make sure that you are actually showcasing that level of vulnerability when you're having that discussion. So thanks you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. I know it's a little different. Like I said, I don't even have my iPad, no notes, just vibes, sharing about my life, sharing how, friends are amazing, community is amazing, and that's that. But if you like anything you heard in this episode, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We are on the road to 300 subscribers. We've reached 200. Yay. But now we got to keep it going. We're not stopping here. And so let's keep growing. Let's keep doing everything. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Honesty Circle with an underscore at the end. Thanks again so much for listening. And go conquer your week. Bye, y'all.